then I had this flash of an idea, like, we should do a video where all I do is pick my dog's ears off of things, like the mic and my clothes. Tonight, I thought we could do a little neighborhood gossip video. As always, credit is due first and foremost to Mary from Southern Sounds ASMR and other creators who do this very well, like Grace V, Soft ASMR, and a bunch of others now. I wanted to start this time by talking about the apartment directly across from me, or rather like the apartment building directly behind you, that way. So there are neighbors right across the way from this apartment, and they have windows that look into pretty much every window on this side of this apartment, and they're slightly higher than us, so they kind of like look down and into our place. And so, given their ability to see in to just about everything we do, it was very nice. They were very nice and very cool. I forget what names I gave them in previous videos, but we will call them Mateo and Maria. So, Mateo and Maria lived right across the way. These are the people who would occasionally walk their cat on a leash. With my other neighbors, they were a part of the very, very cool cat crew. They basically have like a WhatsApp group called the Cat Crew that includes them, because they had maybe 2 cats, one of whom was called Tommy Tomato, and then our neighbors over this way, they have a cat named Kaikos, and then across this way, there's a man who's been here for a very long time. He's like the oldest in the neighborhood, kind of thing. And he has a cat too. His cat, I think he has a cat. I'm not sure which ones he owns, but he is forever cat sitting for people. And there's this 18-pound cat, 18-pound cat that lives back this way with our neighbors that way, that he often cat sits. And I think that one's name is Echo. I'm not sure. But he cat sits it, and he calls it his boyfriend, because they're so like, just like this, canoodly and all of that. And there's a stray cat or two that they all put food out for, and they've named, and they use their WhatsApp group to stay abreast of its location, to keep it away from coyotes and just make sure it's okay. And it's always okay because it has a lot of very cool hiding spots around here. Anyway, they're the cat crew. I'm not a cat person because I'm allergic, so I've never had any way to join the cat crew, which is a shame because they're all very cool people, if not a little like cat obsessed, but that's okay. So anyway, they had some cats. One of their cats, they would walk on a leash around the neighborhood. I had a friend visiting a little while ago. When she saw that, she was like, oh man, you really do live in a strange city. And I was like, yeah, I do. So when we first moved in here, Mateo was very nice nice and making a big effort to introduce himself to us. He was like, oh, you guys are across the way from us. We face each other, all our windows like face one another's. And he had his cat on its leash as he was introducing himself to us. And he was very nice. Very, very nice. And after he introduced himself to us, it's not that he was mean. He wasn't. But he was never that nice again. Like, he was a little short with us, or wouldn't say hi, or he'd say hi, but like really briefly. No big deal. But it was a departure from how he had first introduced himself to us. And of course, me, with my anxiety addled mind, I was like, he must hate us for some reason. But really, I think some other things were going on for him and for them as a couple. Anyway, they moved recently, and we're not quite sure if they broke up, which is a possibility, or maybe they just moved together. But all of a sudden, we didn't see them together anymore. All speculation. And Mateo's mood definitely shifted. He seemed stressed often. We heard them having some arguments because our windows are right there. And I don't know. We didn't eavesdrop. We shut the windows. But we wonder if maybe they broke up. And if someone's stressed like that, like maybe they don't have time to be uber friendly to their neighbors anymore. And that would totally make sense. They also seem to spend their money in a very interesting way. Like, they always had these crazy gadgets and stuff, and they had really, really, really expensive cars, and like little motorbikes and designer clothes and stuff. So they were flush with cash, had a little cat on the leash. They were a part of cat crew, and they were very nice. But they moved, so now that apartment is totally empty, and all the blinds are drawn, but the lights turn on every night at a certain time. They must be automated. And I used to feel a little weird that they could look into our apartment so well. But actually, now that they're gone, I'm like, I think it's creepier that no one's there, actually. But yeah, so that's that. So there's a free place there, which is something of note. I think it's like, it's pretty big. For just the two of them too, is pretty big. It's a pretty big place, so it probably is not of interest to my friend, but I do have a friend who's moving here in the next few months, and he's looking for a place to sublet or just properly lease. And I thought about telling him about it, and we could just be like little next door neighbors peering into each other's windows. But I think it's a little too big. It has many, 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 many rooms. That's just the nature of that building across the way. it's everything really. Her hair was really like stylistically cut, and she has a gap between her teeth that is so pretty. And she was wearing this like very cool loose beanie. I don't even normally notice what people wear in this way, but it was hard to miss because beyond the beanie, she was in, everything looks thrifted but like pristine and had huge like maximalist patterns on it with bright colors. Her coat was like bright yellow with like big red poppies, and then she had like a zigzag shirt on and like striped pants or something, and it looked really cool. And him too, he was just wearing like a very cool and like kooky outfit, and they just looked like they were about to go to a party or something, but they're just walking their dogs. They're very hip looking, I'll say that. So we said hi to them. Yeah. And then what? Oh, okay. So also there's this place across, we have like one window on that side, and through that window I can see garages on this other block. And I've often been curious about this one woman who is out there every day. That's where my desk is, and she's out there every day sorting clothing, like lots of clothing. My foot was asleep, I had to move it. Anyway, she's constantly sorting all these items of clothing, and once I saw a rack with like many dresses, like the whole rack looked like vaguely 60s or 70s vibe, and it had like 5 yellow dresses on it, and I've been trying to figure out what she does, because it happens every day. Like a big truck, my foot's still waking up, like a medium-sized U-Haul truck will come drop off all these racks of clothes. She'll sort them on racks and then also in plastic containers. And then people will stop by, various people, to like talk to her, but the racks are not out on the street for sale. It's not like she's like upselling or upcycling things out of her house, because then the truck will come back and she'll put the racks of clothing on the truck. So this is a mystery I've been very curious about for a long time, and I still don't have the answer. If this sounds like a job that you know anything about, let me know, or if you have a better guess than I do, please let me know, because I'm mystified and I think it looks so cool. But it's kind of hard to catch her, like it's hard to chat her up or figure out what she does, because like I said, there's always these people coming by to check in with her about the clothes she's sorting, or she's inside the garage sorting other stuff with all the clothes like kind of strewn about right outside of the garage, even though they're organized. The other thing is, the other day I noticed she doesn't work out of just one garage. There's a strip of garages. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 garages or something like that. And they're attached to residences that are above, kind of bungalow style, I don't know. But I thought she was working out of just one garage, but actually I noticed she seems to have access to at least 2 other garages. And I don't know how, so she'll like move some clothing from like this garage to that garage and then sort it, and then there's another garage full of these plastic boxes, and it's not like a situation where those garages are available for rent or like a storage center or something. So I don't know how she has access to that, or maybe like she has some kind of company and they rent all the residences and then they maybe she owns like a thrift store or something. There are a lot of thrift stores nearby, so that could be something that is happening. But I also wonder if she's doing like costume design adjacent work where maybe she picks outfits out for certain characters at a theater or like on a set or something, and has different options for people who are stocking some kind of costume department or wardrobe department. I don't know. I'm very confused about it, and I'm very curious because it seems very cool. So that mystery persists, but I did learn that she uses more than one garage. Okay, and then I have two more things to talk about. One is that there is a neighborhood restaurant. Just making sure I didn't hit mute. There's a neighborhood restaurant nearby. I can walk to it. And they do have really good food, okay? But they're just becoming... The service industry seems really hard to work in right now. It always has been hard to work in, right? But things will happen there because they're so terribly understaffed where you're just like, oh wow. I never say anything about it, but I'm like, oh, this is definitely affecting my experience. I can also see that everyone's overworked. For example, we went there for breakfast one day, and there were 3 tables where people were seated. It was ours, another that was like a family of 4, and then a group of 3 with a dog. So there were just 3 tables, okay? And our food came out, like, not super quickly, but quickly enough. And it was delicious. It was so good. I got some pancakes with the seasonal fruit compote, which in that case it was winter, so it was like, I think, a persimmon-based combo, and it was delicious. So good. We were there for probably like an hour, and I had also ordered how do you say it? A café con leche. Café con leche. It's just coffee and milk. Like, you don't have to like steam it or like do foam stuff. Clearly I don't make very good coffee, but I've never been a barista or, you know, learned at an office or at home, but there's nothing complicated to do, really. You just add milk to the coffee. And the coffee did not come out with our food. It did not come out after we got our food. We had to remind them of it, and they said, oh yeah, it's coming, it's been on its way. We were like, okay. And so it was like we had probably been there an hour and 10 minutes, already eaten. Our plates were cleared. They were cleared. And then the coffee came. And so like things like that, we were just like, oh wow. I don't know. It's sorely understaffed. But that morning that didn't seem to be like, it shouldn't have been an issue because there were only 3 tables, like, you know. But maybe management is just really struggling. I don't know. But something I've never noticed before, which I just noticed this time that we went, in a neighborhood restaurant, okay, like a neighborhood restaurant that I want to support and that I do support, but still this was like egregious, which is fine. I'll just never order it. I'll just never order it. What is it, Mauve? I'll tell you. It's that in the beverages section, they have they're selling a single can for $5. I'm very curious. I'm very curious if they give it to you in the can, or do they like pour it over ice in a cup, or what? I really have no idea, and I refuse to order it. Obviously, they have other reasonably priced drinks, but then there's like a $5 LaCroix. So that's fun, but you know, we'll go there from time to time just because it's convenient. The food is good. The staff, again, super understaffed, but like the staff is really nice and they really do their best. So okay, and then the last thing is, like, in terms of neighborhood gossip, I feel like I would be remiss if I did not mention my dog's side of things. She's made several friends lately. There are different paths that we walk her on, like just routes that have kind of emerged over time, and they all have names that we've kind of given them over time on accident to communicate to one another where we mean to go. So it's like, oh, the high road stairs, or like the high road, the long way. There's like Shiba Inu Pass, because to go through that way, we cross a yard or pass a yard that has two Shiba Inus that look out these little holes that have been cut in the fence. So cute. They're very nosy and they're like alert, like trying to figure out what's going on. There's like the zigzag way, there's like the 3-alley way, there's the like elementary loop and whatever. So on our most common route, our most common loop, my dog has made it a habit to like check and see if her friends are home. There's one big gray dog that looks like a cross between a Chow Chow and a Newfoundland, but he's gray. And we don't know his name. She's never played with him directly because he's always in his yard. But we call him Boris. And every time we cross there, my dog wants to see if Boris is home. She whines if he's not home, and then she has a different whine if he is home, which is like cuter and to say hi. And he's like very cute and just looks at her and like shakes his toy at her to show off or something. I don't know, but they have this weird little like over the fence, I wouldn't say romance per se, trying to decentralize romantic narratives from my life, but like, you know, they have this little weird fence friendship. And there's a second dog she does that with, that she has played with, named Griffin, and she's always checking to see if Griffin is home. And we joke that like when they're not home, or they like that when they're not home or she can't find them, that they can't play because they haven't finished their homework yet. And she's just like, can he play? Can he play? You know, like an old school neighborhood kind of kid. There's also a dog named Mr. Chips that our dog is very close to, and they're meet cute. Like the way Kit met Mr. Chips is, I was walking her by myself and she was going crazy. This was like a month, 3 months ago. She was going crazy on this lawn, just doing mad zoomies. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And she kind of like ran out into the street. It's fine, there wasn't traffic, but like kind of ran out. And she has a really short leash because she's crazy. And she ran out into the street and kind of like the leash isn't long, so it naturally wrapped her around this telephone pole, and she like, came back the other way and ran into it. Her skull is really tough, thankfully, because she didn't feel a thing. That happens all the time. Like, she doesn't feel a thing. She'll run into a wall and like doesn't even faze her. Anyway, I'm not kidding you. From she wants to like pop up, surprise, and say hi to them. But sometimes, probably like a quarter of the time, if she's unable to say hi to them because the owner like moves the dog onto their far side, or the dog's not interested or whatever, probably a quarter of the time it aggravates her, and so she kind of like growls a little bit. It's not aggressive, but at the same time it's growling, and it's very embarrassing as her caretaker. It's very embarrassing that, you know, she'll be like doing her little thing all on the ground waiting for them to come, and sometimes people don't know what's that's about, and I'll be like, oh, she's friendly, she's like waiting to greet them. I'll be like, oh, don't worry, she's friendly. And 9 times out of 10, she'll pop up, they'll play for a sec, they say hi, it's great, they sniff each other, awesome, new friend. But every so often, the other dog, again, not interested, or is walking like on the far side, so my dog can't get there to say hello to whatever. And it frustrates her, and she'll growl, and I'll have just said, don't worry, she's friendly, and then my dog's over here making me look like a fool, growling, and I'm like, don't embarrass me, like, just don't, like, you know, just consistency, that would be nice. Because one time that happened too, I forgot about this woman, one time that happened, okay, so my dog was like that, waiting to say hi to her dog. I had just said, don't worry, she's friendly, and the woman didn't have time to respond before Kit popped up and growled because her dog had like passed onto her far side, and she said, don't worry, she's friendly, pop up, growl. This other woman goes, oh, we're practicing good behavior about her dog. Like, oh, you guys are practicing good behavior, okay. I don't think she meant anything by it. You know, when you're like out walking and strangers talk to you and you don't, you just like have this weird interaction because your mind is elsewhere, whatever. I think that's what happened. I don't think she was trying to be rude, but I was like, gutted, like, my dog is out here embarrassing me. But anyway, so that's all the neighborhood talk I have for you today. I was thinking too, actually, more than neighborhood stuff, what I like to do is I work at cafes, and I often find myself eavesdropping on these public conversations. I have no qualms about eavesdropping on a public conversation. And maybe I'll do a video someday